Welcome to another Java tutorial. We're going to look at figure 2.15 this time. So we need to create a new class. Figure 2.15. And I'm not going to type this one in for you. I'm just going to paste it in. So before I start, let's go over the arithmetic from the last lesson. Arithmetic is evaluated according to the rules of BEDMAS. So we do brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. In Java, we use round brackets for math, and for multiplication, we use the asterisk. And for division, we use /. And as always, we use the plus and minus sign for addition and subtraction. Okay, now for this lesson. One of the most important things that computers do is to make decisions. Straight computation is not important if we can't make decisions about the computations that we've done. So that's what we're going to look at in this example. To make the computer do decisions, we use a statement called if-then statement. It is constructed with if clause, then clause, and then a semicolon. We leave the then out because then is implied. We don't put a semicolon after the conditional clause because that is an error. Okay, so let's look at this first one. We're comparing to see if number 1 equals number 2. We need two equal signs because this is a conditional equals. If we use a single equal sign, that's an assignment statement. So almost always you will be using a double equal sign for a conditional clause. So if number 1 actually equals number 2, it will execute the next statement. If it doesn't equal number 2, it will skip this next statement. So the conditionals that we have are equals. The exclamation mark equal sign means does not equal, less than, greater than, less than or equal, and greater than or equal to. So that's this whole program. Let's set a breakpoint and execute it. Remember, this is the debug run. This is a regular run. A regular run will ignore the breakpoints. Okay, input is going to be of scanner class, so it's going to be a scanner object. Remember, F6 will step over an instruction. And we'll step over, and we enter our first input. We enter our first integer. Let's call it 13. Enter. Step over, step over. Let's put in 14. And now we come down to our conditional codes. So, clearly 13 does not equal 14. So we step, and it skips this clause or statement. Now we check to see if 13 equals 14, and clearly it won't. So if we press F6, it will now execute this statement. So 13 does not equal 14, which is correct. Now we see if 13 is less than 14, and that should be the case. So it prints that one out. We check to see if 13 is greater than 14. It does not. And it skips this statement. So whenever your code isn't working, it's always best to debug it, set some breakpoints, and you need to pretend you're the computer and figure out what the logic is and see if it's running the way it's supposed to be. Okay, is 13 less than or equal to 14? Yes, that's the case. And is 13 greater than or equal to 14? No, that is not the case. Notice that I have input close here. Let's just finish running the program, so we'll just resume. Okay, and we'll go back to Java. If I delete input close, I get a warning. And it's telling you the resource is leaked, input is never closed. And the way we fix that is just to put that line back in. Input close. Your program will still run, it's just a warning. It's always best to get rid of warnings from your code. So just because the code worked here doesn't mean you should stop testing. You should test the other cases. So let's input 15 and 14. So 15 does not equal 14, 15 is greater than 14, 15 is greater than or equal to 14. So that all works. And finally, we should test one more case where 14 and 14. So 14 equals 14, 14 is less than or equal to 14, and 14 is greater than or equal to 14. So that is the complete test cases. If you want, you can always test with negative numbers as well. But that completes this lesson. Please understand all the code before moving on to the next video.